Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and I got an idea. Let's take a look at some light bulbs today. We're going to continue our series of Internet of Things devices, and these are light bulbs from TP-Link that you hook up to the internet via Wi-Fi, and you can control them via your phone or Amazon Alexa, and I'll show you how all of that works here in just a second. Now, I do want to mention, in the interest of full disclosure, these bulbs came in free of charge from TP-Link. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, and no one is reviewing this content before it is posted. So let's take a look and see what these things are all about. These are just light bulbs that you screw into a standard light socket. Now, what will happen is, though, is that these will connect directly to your Wi-Fi router after you configure them, and then you can control them from your phone, whether you're at home or remotely. Now, it does require you have to set up an account with TP-Link in order to get these things to work. So you have to allow them into your home, essentially. You can, though, operate them without connecting them to the internet, just to your local router, but you won't be able to use the Alexa service or use it outside of your home. So you have some choices to make, but it is good to know that you can at least operate them without being on the internet if you choose. Now, the one thing that I found difficult about these when I set them up is that you have to connect to every bulb individually first with your phone, get it connected to your Wi-Fi, and then repeat that process. So it does take a while to set these up, especially if you're buying a bunch of these to replace bulbs in your home. Now, we're looking at their two more powerful bulbs today. These are 60-watt equivalents. They say they're rated at 800 lumens, and by my eyes, they look about what I would expect to get out of a 60-watt light bulb. They don't offer anything more powerful than these at the moment. This multicolor bulb here has many, many different colors. They say millions of colors, and I'll show you a few of those millions in a minute. This is the more expensive bulb. It's $50. This one is their tunable white, which means you can adjust the color temperature of the white bulb on it. So you can make it colder, which is more blue, or you can make it warmer, which is more yellow. And I'll show you how that works in a minute too, but that's the only color range you have on this one, just the tunable white. They also have a 50-watt equivalent white bulb, which costs $20, and all of these will connect independently to the internet or to your network via their internal Wi-Fi circuitry, so they don't require a base station like the Philips Hue lights require. Although I did find that if you were to price these things out, it's about an equivalent price, because these bulbs cost slightly more than the Philips bulbs do now, but the Philips system does require that you buy a base station in order to get theirs to work. So I think it'll be, at the moment at any rate, kind of a wash in price, although the prices on these bulbs are getting very competitive, and I'm sure that will change over time, so just keep an eye on that. So what I'm going to do now is install these light bulbs into two of my lamps, and I'll show you how it all works. All right, so here is the main control panel. We already have these two bulbs set up, so I can do some very simple things here by turning on and off the light bulbs here just by selecting the ones I wish to turn on or off, so you have that control on there. I can also dig into this color bulb, for example, here and set the color differently. So you can see right now I've got it set to a warm white light. I can switch over to color here, and you can see my color bar, and I can just drag my finger across here and change the color at will, which is pretty cool. So you have that flexibility there. So I'll put it back on the color I had before. And then on the other bulb here, you can see, because this is a white only bulb, I only have this range of color temperature to adjust on it. So I can make it warmer or colder, but that is it. Although the cold is kind of a bluish hue, but it's still kind of the temperature that we're adjusting here versus the color. Now, my biggest gripe with this is that I can't synchronize the color between bulbs. So I have to kind of remember where I left each of these bulbs and get them as close as possible to each other. So if you are the type of person that wants everything to be exactly the same, this will frustrate you, because at the moment there's no way to sync them up. More of a software problem than a hardware problem, but if you got a bunch of these things in the same room, there might be a variation depending on where you left your finger when you were adjusting the app here. So I did find that to be one thing I would like to see different on there. You can also adjust the dim or brightness of the bulb here just by dragging this slider. So you want to make sure that you have this plugged into a light socket that is not dimmable, or if it is dimmable, it's at its highest setting, because it controls the dimming internally and not through your light switches there. So you definitely want to be mindful of that as you are setting everything up. Now, they also have a feature that allows you to group your bulbs together, so you can activate them and have them change modes with a single tap versus going to each bulb individually. So down in the lower portion of your screen, you'll see an option for scenes. And you can see I've got 3 scenes set up on here. So if I tap on evening, that will turn my lights off. If I go over to sunrise, it will turn my lights back on. And it's not just an on or an off thing. You can also set color and dimness on them as well. So if I go over here to scene behavior, you can see I've got both bulbs at a similar color temperature at 100%, but I could decide, you know what, maybe I want this color bulb to be green versus the warm white that I have currently. So I can just set that there. You'll see that changes there. I can preview it to see how it'll look. If I'm happy with that, I can click save, and now that will be the sunrise option. So I can turn them off again by tapping on evening and then going back to sunrise here, and you'll see now that I've got a green and a warm white. Then I can go over here to sunset and maybe work on a different color if I want. So you can see how if you have multiple bulbs, you can set up different scenes and have them work together to give you what you're looking for there. So that's one way to group them. And another way to group them, though, is with Amazon Alexa, and that will actually allow you to group your bulbs up with other devices that are also Alexa compatible. So we're going to get my Amazon Echo out here and see how we can voice control these lamps. All right, so we've got our Amazon Echo here on the desk, and it's ready to accept some voice commands. So we're going to go over to its companion app that begins with an A because we don't want to set it off yet until we're ready to go here. Now there's a hamburger menu on that app, and if you go over to Smart Home, that is where you're going to link up your TP-Link account with your Amazon account. So you can see here I've got TP-Link Casa connected. I also have a Hue lamp connected too, and you can control both at the same time because you can set up groups here. So I've got this group called TP-Link right now, and you can see inside of this group I have our color bulb selected as well as our white lamp. But what I could do, though, is add in my Philips Hue lamps if I wanted. I could also add Wemo switches. Anything that's Amazon compatible, I can add into this app and control them all at the same time with a single command, which is pretty cool. So you can take multiple brands, different companies making different things, and control them all together through the Amazon app versus using separate devices. But what we're going to do now is just control our TP-Link lamps just to keep this simple. So what I'm going to do now is ask this question: Alexa, turn the TP-Link lamps on.
Okay.
And now you can see it turned both of them on. Now, one thing it will not do, though, is allow me to set the colors through a voice command. You can do that on the Philips system by setting up a scene and then connecting the scene to the Amazon app. At the time that I'm recording this video, TP-Link does not allow you to connect your scenes to the app and Amazon thing here. I don't want to set it off again. So you can't yet have it do anything but turn itself on or off or dim. So I could say, for example, Alexa, dim by 50% the TP-Link lamps.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off the TP-Link lamps.
Okay.
And that's about all you can do with it. But I can control individual bulbs through the app here. So I can say, Alexa, turn on the white lamp.
Okay.
And you can see here it turned on the white lamp, but not the color bulb. And I can then, of course, say, Alexa, turn on the TP-Link lamps.
Okay.
And then it will bring everything back to an on state there. Now, TP-Link says these lamps will operate at 11 watts, although my kilowatt reported 8.4 watts while it was on. When the bulb is off, it, of course, still has to keep something on for its Wi-Fi radio to be operating. So you're going to be at about 0.5 or 0.6 watts when it is off. So it does have to keep some energy going just to communicate back with the Wi-Fi access point. That is double what I measured on the Hue lamps, but remember the Hue lamps also have to have a base station plugged in and operating too. So again, I think energy-wise it'll probably be a wash, but remember you will have some energy usage when these bulbs are off because they have to be listening for commands. Now you can also schedule your light bulb to go on or off at certain times. Unfortunately, you cannot set it as a scene. You have to set each bulb schedule individually, but you have the ability to have the bulb change colors at certain times, to be on or off at certain times, dimness, everything that you can control with the app, you can work into a schedule. You also have options for that schedule to repeat at certain intervals, and you do have a pretty good amount of configurability on that, but I really would have liked to have seen it scene configurable just to allow you to have bulbs work together when you are setting up scheduling. So that is the TP-Link Smart Wi-Fi bulb system, and I'm very impressed by how well they work on my network here and how responsive the app is. It's no surprise, though, because TP-Link has been making a lot of home networking equipment for a long time. They do a lot of routers for their own brand as well as other brands too, so it really does work well from a hardware standpoint. I do wish the software, though, felt a little more refined, specifically setting up groups of bulbs, because right now you cannot set the same color to work across a group of bulbs unless you set that color individually for each of them. And I can see people buying these things, getting 2 or 3 of them in a room and driving themselves nuts trying to get them all to be the exact same color. So if you could just say, hey, make all the bulbs in this room this color blue and apply, or make it so, as Captain Picard would say, that would make life a lot easier than it is currently on these at the moment. It also would be nice to see the ability to set the schedule based on a scene or a grouping of bulbs versus the individual bulbs at the moment, because again, if you've got 20 of these things around your house, and to have to set a timer on each bulb individually, I think is a bit cumbersome. So if they were able to bring that scheduling feature as a group feature, I think that would also be a big improvement. Mostly software issues, though. I don't think it would require any change in the hardware. So hopefully they will refine the app over time and make these things a little smarter in how they work together. One last note on security. They do have firmware updates that will be pushed down from time to time, but you have to initiate them in the app at the moment. It doesn't look like they update themselves automatically. And given all of the security concerns around IoT devices these days, it would be nice to see those bulbs update themselves, because I can see a lot of people just delaying it or not even thinking to go into the app, especially if they're using a device like this to control them where you're not using their app all that often. I can see a lot of these light bulbs getting quickly out of date on their firmware and becoming security hazards potentially. So hopefully they can make some auto updates on those as well. So that'll do it for the TP-Link Smart Wi-Fi bulbs, and this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by my Patreon supporters, including gold level supporter Eric. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit Lon.TV/S.